To understand bow hunting, it is important to realize how much more effort goes into the hunt, such as scouting, setting up stands and blinds, spending more time in the woods, and calling deer in. Bow hunting is both a sport and an art. I've heard many archery hunters say that they have had a decrease in desire to hunt with a rifle ever since they began hunting with a bow. I would be on the side of this statement. It is not that we no longer want to take a deer with a rifle, but the satisfaction from the effort put into bow hunting can far outweigh that of rifle season. I am about to discuss a few of the aspects of bow hunting that may pique your interest. I'll be covering things such as scouting, setup, time, and calling. First off, if you'd like to find out where the big bucks are, you need to consider the terrain you'll be hunting. The more land you can hunt on, the better your chances are of finding the trophies. You need to find areas where deer are likely to bed, feed, and hide. Many times you can tell where there are a lot of deer by looking at the feeding ground. Once you know where they feed, you can set up to watch them, from a safe distance of course. You do not want your presence known by the deer. Pay close attention to where they enter and exit the field, and what time they enter and exit the field. Also, by mapping the terrain, you can guess where the deer are most likely to bed or at least travel. Deep valleys are often preferred by the bigger bucks to get from point A to point B. During the rut, however, they do not care how they get from point A to their doe. Oftentimes, deer will also bed in deep thickets or on outcropped ridge depressions. My second year bow hunting, I scouted out this amazing field. I saw around 10 nice bucks while scouting it, and this definitely gave me some motivation for the hunting season. By knowing where the deer are sleeping and feeding, we can know where to set up for the kill. The best places to set up a deer stand or deer blind is either going to be on their path from food to their bed or right on top of where they have been feeding. As I said earlier, we want as little of our presence known as possible, so we want to stay out of their bedding grounds as much as is practical. A few main concerns when setting up your stand or blind include shooting lanes, observability, and camouflage. You will want to have clear shots between you and the deer, since branches are much less forgiving of an arrow than they are a bullet. You'll also want some chances to see the deer before they step into your shooting lane. This does not need to be a completely clear view, just enough to prepare you. The other thing to consider is your camouflage. You want to set up your standard blind at least a few weeks ahead of time so the deer can adjust to its presence, and it will not be new to them by the time you are in it. You'll also want to tuck in your setup to the environment so it blends well. Use colors that suit the season and use as much natural cover around the area as you can to conceal your position. Sure, setup and scouting will take up an extensive amount of your time, but the most enjoyable time will be spent in the woods. While in the woods, take the time to really enjoy yourself. Pay close attention to the birds, the fresh air, and maybe the possum that gets you excited until you realize it's not your trophy. The way you experience nature while you're bow hunting is almost surreal. When a fawn comes along your path, or even just a deer that you won't shoot, take the time to observe it and learn about it. Watch how it moves through the woods, smells everything, and reacts to its surroundings. Taking the time for this will make you a much better hunter through understanding how the deer operates. During the rut is the best time to communicate with deer. By using a mouth call, either a grunt or a doe bleat, you can drive some big bucks crazy. Bucks will feel challenged by a grunt, and many times will come to prove themselves the king of the territory. A bleat will get the buck anxious for fulfilling his purpose this time of year. During the rut, the only thing on a buck's mind is to get him a doe, and to take down any buck that would impose on that. In 2009, I watched my buck go through the woods, cross a creek bed, and into the cornfield. When I grunted at him, he came bolting back in my direction. When he got in range, I let him have it. And my first ever buck, which was also my first bow kill, was in the bag that day.